Huh. That's weird. I thought I put Manny Machado at 24 on the player rankings. Wait, no! That's how many scoreless innings the Padres had with the chance to eliminate the Dodgers. My bad. Welcome to The Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and on today's episode, we are continuing our top 50 player rankings. We're going 40 through 31 today. Come and yell at me at the comments. I know you guys are going to disagree with this one. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network. It's wild card weekend in the NFL, and the boys at the hot seat are going to have the best preview in the biz, and I don't think you guys should miss it. Now we begin the ranking, of course, with the aforementioned Manny Machado, who comes in at number 40, and I swear to God, it's not my anti-Machado bias. I mean, the jersey's right there. His 2024 stats, he hit 275 with 29 home runs, 105 RBIs, a 325 on base with a 472 slugging, good for a 797 OPS and a 120 OPS plus. The big thing with him is he has fallen off hard as a defender. He put up 1 outs above average, his first negative OAA since 2019. And if you look at it too, the arm strength has gone down year by year. Yes, he was injured and you can expect a rebound, but he's 32 going on 33 this season. I don't know how he's going to age necessarily and how it's taken its toll. I think the range is going to be way, way down. And I think you have kind of been seeing it as the outs above average have steadily declined these past couple seasons. And on top of that too, the chase contact rate is down every season since that near MVP campaign in 2022. He's been more aggressive at the plate, and it has benefited him a little bit. But if you're not making contact as much when you're chasing, it's really, really hard to sustain this success. And on top of that, odd year Machado is a thing where he's just not great in the odd number of years for whatever reason. Like, even number of years, he's fantastic. He's like that Giants dynasty almost. But the odd years, he just sucks. I think this is when you're finally going to start seeing Machado age poorly. Like, I would not be surprised if he has -3 or even 4 outs above average at third base. I would not be surprised if that batting average dips into the 250s. I know batting average isn't everything, but I just don't think he's going to be the most graceful ager if this is how his aging curve's lurking. I think this might be the last year he ends up in the top 50 players. At number 39, we have someone on the opposite end of the aging curve, and that is Milwaukee Brewers outfielder Jackson Cheerio. He exploded on the scene in 2024. He hit 275 with 21 home runs, 79 RBIs, 22 steals, a 327 on base, 464 slug, a 791 OPS, good for a 119 OPS plus, and put 5 outs above average in center field. And, like I talked about with Machado, the biggest flaw in his game is, he chases a lot, but he doesn't have the contact rate Machado does. As he chases at 31.9% of the time, whiffs 35.1% of the time. But, he still has an average strikeout rate, which is very, very good. I think his bat-to-ball skills can improve a lot, and that's one area I think he's probably working on in the offseason. And, if he starts lifting the ball more, I know you say this about everybody from Vlad Guerrero to Yandy Diaz, but it's true. If he lifts the ball with his hard hit rate, I think he can, absolutely hit 30, maybe even 40 home runs, quite honestly, with how hitter-friendly American Family Field is. God, I hate saying that name. But it's true. I think if he puts the ball in the air more, and I'll even trade a little bit more strikeout stuff for it, he's got a lot of potential. That speed is phenomenal. The defense is great. But, I think he's got to learn to take a little bit better routes, surprisingly, for someone who put up 5 outs above average, telling him take better routes is a weird thing to say, but I think he needs to, and you see that in the StatCast numbers. Overall, he had a fantastic season. He's got a lot of room to grow, and I think this is a very conservative estimate for him. At 39, we got Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners. He was 9-12 last year, but wins don't matter. He threw a league-leading 208 2/3 innings with a 3.23 ERA, good for a 1.13 ERA plus. You got to remember, he plays at T-Mobile Park. That place is as hitter-friendly as basically hell is to a Christian. He had a .89 whip, 220 strikeouts, 9.5 strikeouts per nine, 1.6 walks per nine, 1.1 home runs per nine, good for a 3.27 FIP. And you know about Logan Gilbert. He has elite command with great strikeout stuff. That's really his calling card. Pitching deep into the games has been really, really surprising for me. And seeing him lead the league in innings is a huge boon. He doesn't get hit hard that much. 89.6 average exit velo, 39.3 hard hit rate. Some of the best in baseball. Really great stuff from your starting pitcher. But it was all driven by the fact that he threw his slider more than his fastball for the first time in 2024. And coincidentally, it made the fastball a lot more effective. 204 batting average against versus 280 in 2023. 383 slug in 2024 versus a 491 slug. And then the whiff rate went up, 19.3 versus 17.7. And then, more importantly, this was his first season with an above-average ground ball rate in his career. Like, yes, I understand you don't need an above-average ground ball rate if you're playing at T-Mobile Park. But just to see it shows that it can be a lot more sustainable, and you're not really relying on that marine layer and the confines of your ballpark to keep the ball in. If you're getting it on the ground, getting more whiffs on your fastball, Logan Gilbert has a lot of room to grow, and I think 38 is a perfect spot for him on this list. But somewhere on who we don't know where they're going to go is third baseman Alex Bregman, currently a free agent. Was not the best season by his standards last year, but still a good season overall. He hit .260 with 26 home runs, 75 RBIs, a .315 on base, 453 slugging, good for a 758 OPS, a 118 OPS plus, and he put up 6 outs above average at third. And I think the thing that jumps out to you the most, it certainly did to me, but was that .315 on base percentage. Is he's been known for his patient approach at the plate, someone who really works counts, will take his walks. Famously in the 2018 ALCS, I think he walked like 10 times in a 5-game series, something ridiculous like that. So seeing it fall this way is concerning, but if you kind of look under the hood a little bit, I don't think it's that alarming. It's definitely a red flag, but it's fixable. As he had he saw the third highest percentage of pitches in the zone in 2024, and he compensated by swinging a lot at one of the highest rates of his career, and he made a lot of contact too. He wasn't swinging and missing. He was making contacts on the swings. He chased a lot more because of that, but again, he had the highest chase contact rate of his career. I think if pitchers see that and maybe start trying to go out of the zone a little more, I think Bregman still has the discipline to take those pitches. And even if he doesn't, he's been making contact on him. It's not majorly concerning to me. I think he's going to be just fine. And on top of that, he's a great defender at third. I really don't see that changing. The StatCast numbers have been consistent year over year. The eye test is consistent. And third base, unlike outfield spots, really does not depend on the ballpark you play in. I think he's a fine player overall. I think 37 is a great spot for him. At 36, one of the biggest fallers from 2023 to 2024, and that is Atlanta Braves first baseman Matt Olson. He hit .247 last year with 29 home runs, 98 RBIs, 338, 3 on base, 458 slug, good for a 790 OPS and a 118 OPS plus. And yeah, the counting stats have fallen drastically, but the StatCast numbers are in line with his career norms. But the big thing is he was pressing a lot in 2024 and really needs to regain that patience to regain the success he's had since coming to Atlanta. And I think why he was pressing so much is, quite honestly, aside from Jorge Soler, Marcell Ozuna, who we don't talk about on this podcast, he was just not he was the only guy in that lineup, quite frankly. Acuna was out. Austin Riley was out. Albies didn't necessarily have the best season. So really a lot of the offensive load fell to Olson, and he was pressing because of that. So looking at it, Acuna is coming back this year. Riley's coming back this year. Expect both of them to have bounce back campaigns. And I think it's really going to see at Olson, as he's going to be a lot more selective, really just do what he does best, and that's put the ball in the air a lot. I think he'll be fine, but I'm just hedging my bets just in case this is a sign of things to come for Matt Olson. At 35, we have one of the biggest risers. It's Garrett Crochet. Last season, he started 32 games through 146 innings with a 6-12 record, but again, wins don't matter, especially if you're on the historically inept Chicago White Sox. He had a 3.58 ERA with a 1.15 ERA plus a 1.07 WHIP, 209 strikeouts, good for a 12.9 strikeouts per nine, 2 walks per nine, and 1.1 home runs per nine, good for a 2.69 FIP. And quite frankly, he has the best fastball from a starter in baseball. Absolutely dominant, 97.1 miles per hour is what he averages on it with a 1.2 run value per 100 pitches. And he's going to be pitching more innings going forward. It was his first season as a starter last year. And on top of that, he didn't want to throw that deep into the games, especially without that contract extension from the White Sox or a trade and extension like he wanted. So he's really going to start pitching deeper into games. Don't be surprised if he hits 180, maybe even 190 innings if he's fully healthy this year. And the big thing for me and why I was so high on that Garrett Crochet trade to the Red Sox is Andrew Bailey is a very, very good pitching coach. And if you look at it, his sweeper had a fantastic whiff rate, but it was getting knocked all over the place. I think he's going to make some adjustments to either the usage, the grip, or just the location of it, and really unlock a great secondary pitch for Crochet. And if you do that, you have the next Chris Sale in Boston. Garrett Crochet, I am incredibly, incredibly high on. Big things are coming for him this season, and you've heard it. You're not going to hear it here first. He's second in AL Cy Young odds, but do not be shocked when Crochet goes nuts this year. Now, someone he's going to be facing a lot in that division, though, is catcher Adley Rutschman. He took a step back and not the best way. He hit 250 in 2024 with 19 home runs, 79 RBIs, 318 on base, 391 slugging, good for a 709 OPS, 107 OPS, plus 0 fielding run value as catcher, which was perhaps the most striking thing, as that was Rutschman's calling card his first 2 seasons. And, you know, it really was. He wasn't as good a framer in 2024 as he was the first 2 seasons of his career. He's still blocking fine, still has great pop time, but let's see if he can start framing pitches well again, because that's really what drove a lot of his value those first 2 years. Offensively, he's walking a lot less. And unlike Bregman, I don't think it's going to be sustainable, because he's chasing more but making the same contact. So he's really got to dial it back a little bit, be aggressive in the zone, and just work the counts like he has been doing. And then he saw more pitches in the zone too, but he swung less and made less contact. Just a weird season from Rutschman that I don't necessarily know what to do with. He has MVP upside. I genuinely do believe that. But if he keeps having seasons like this, he's going to be just an average catcher at best, which is weird to say of someone who had as much hype as he did going into the draft. Just a lot of things need to change for Rutschman. I still have faith in him, but this ranking is me hedging my bets a little bit. At 33, we have the opposite of Manny Machado, and that's Marcus Semien, because he seems to go off in every other year in opposite patterns of Machado, and last year was a down year for him. He had 237 with 23 home runs, 74 RBIs, a 308 on base, 391 slugging, a 699 OPS, which was dead on league average with 100 OPS plus, but put up an otherworldly 19 outs above average at second base. And let's start offensively. As he started chasing more, making less contact, which if you look at the Semien seasons, both the good and the bad, chasing more, making less contact when chasing, that is the hallmark of a bad Semien season. So I think, again, I've been saying this a lot, but a more patient approach at the plate is what he needs desperately. Because for the first time in his career, he had a swing rate of over 50%. And he doesn't have like the bat-to-ball skills or that compact swing that his teammate Corey Seager does that really benefits that plate approach. So he's really got to cut back on that. I think he is, because he seems to learn the lesson of I got to be patient. And then, oh, cool, then I'm going to attack the zone. Doesn't necessarily work. So he's going to be patient again this year. And then on top of that, he is the best defensive second baseman in the league. You see that in the StatCast numbers. So a lot of this ranking is derived from that fact. Even still, like, he's an average offensive bat with MVP upside. 33 is a nice spot for him overall. At 32, we have the opposite of Marcus Semien, surprisingly enough, and that's Rafael Devers. Last year, he hit 272 with 28 home runs, 83 RBIs, a 354 on base, 516 slugging, good for an 871 OPS and a 139 OPS plus. However, he is an abysmal defender at third base, minus 6 outs above average. And the encouraging thing for him offensively is that his walk rate is over 10% for the first time in his career, while maintaining, those expected numbers and all those red circles we love so much on Baseball Savant, which really shows that he's going to age gracefully, offensively at least, because defensively, he's going to move to first base at some point. I know Tristan Casas is there and Masataka Yoshida is occupying the DH spot, but something's got to give, man. He has gotten worse every single year defensively at third baseman. It's not shocking to me that the Red Sox have been linked so highly to Alex Bregman because they need a defensive third baseman. And if you're looking at it too, it's so much easier to move Casas in a trade and really shore up that infield defense, because I think he'll be average at best at first base, but defense does not matter as much from first baseman. Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson don't derive their values as players as some of the best defensive first basemen in baseball. So it's really, I love the bat. I hate the defense. He's consistent year in, year out. He's always going to be 32, 33, 34. Great season from Devers incoming. And at 31, I asked Arizona Diamondback Corbin Burns. He started 32 games last year through 194 in the third innings with a 2.92 ERA, good for a 1.28 ERA plus, 1.10 WHIP, 181 strikeouts, good for 8.4 strikeouts per nine, 2.2 walks per nine, a home run per nine, and 3.55 FIP. Now the question is those second half struggles we saw with Burns really who he is? Because in the second half last year, he had a 3.69 ERA, 23 walks versus 22 in the first half, and 43 fewer innings. The question becomes, again, which Corbin Burns do we necessarily get? Because the strikeout rate has been down every single year from his Cy Young winning campaign. It is now down 12.5% in over a 3-year period. But if you're looking for encouraging signs, the numbers did go up in September. He did have a fantastic playoff start. And it was really due to adjustments he made on his cutter. He said it himself, when he gets into bad funks is when he's trying to spin that cutter too much. And you saw it as that active spin went up 2% from 23 to 24. I think he learned his lesson. He's going to try and hold back a little bit. Chase Field with the humidor is pretty much a pitcher's ballpark and can go either way. I think he should be fine overall, but I'm hedging my bets a little bit. I'm not necessarily as high on Corbin Burns as a lot of people. I'm not a believer in him, and I think ranking him 31 shows that, quite frankly. But let me know, which of my rankings was the most controversial? Was it Burns? Was it Bregman? I know you guys are going to say Manny Machado. Come yell at me in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball.